What is up, Team JVS? We are here with another review. We're here with Superman and Lois, episode 8 of season 4, the final season, and we are so close to that finish line, and it's crazy to think about. The show hasn't, it's only been 4 seasons, but it feels like it's been a big part of my, kind of like my entertainment schedule, if you will. So, knowing that there's 2 episodes left, just seeing at the end of the episode, like, oh, 2 episodes left until the series finale of Superman and Lois. It's crazy. It is. It really is. So, I'm just really, really excited to dive into this. But before we start, if you guys are into reactions, if you're into seeing me watch the episodes, you can go to my channel and you can check that out. Everything's in the description. I'd appreciate it. On top of that, we will be doing a live stream at the end of the series talking about all things Superman and Lois, and would love to have you there on my channel. And on top of that, we might have a special guest star on that live stream. It may or may not be someone from the show. And we're going to see if we can make that work. But on top of that, we also are going to be doing some other stuff, like maybe a couple interviews. But, I'm really excited, all right? I'm really excited. But for now, I just want to say thank you. You guys have been great. And I'm excited to just get in here and dive into it. So that's what we're going to do. We start off this episode, a lot of us are really, really anxious to see how everything goes down, considering the last episode was so overwhelming. With that reveal, I mean, that's a game changer. That's not just, a bad guy losing. That's a big outing that a lot of superheroes sometimes have to face. And it's a really complicated storyline. And I'm not just saying for the sake of Superman, but for the sake of just superheroes. Like, that's a big part of the superhero world, keeping a secret identity. And before you guys go, well, this person doesn't have a secret identity, there are plenty of heroes that do. You guys know exactly what I'm saying. But to see the Kent family be put in a position where they have to kind of like be really cautious of their moves and what they're doing, and on top of that, just how it's impacting relationships. It's a really interesting, I guess, aspect of how they're handling the whole secret identity thing, and I feel like they handled it pretty well. And I think that's part of the reason why I think this episode was good, but it kind of really took a kind of that slow turn compared to the last few episodes, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because they killed it. The other episodes are great, but and this episode was great too, but it's just considering that in every episode that we had like such a huge kind of like big moment, and here we did have that with the interview and with the suit coming after Superman, but it's just like it just didn't feel as like, I know in the overall scheme of things it's going to be super impactful for how Luther ends up kind of how he obtained the suit, and just how that's going to affect Luther and kind of Superman's little journey in the next 2 episodes, because I'm really excited for that. But compared to some of the other moments, I mean, I don't know how to explain it really that well, but I just feel as though it just wasn't as kind of attention grabbing as the last few episodes were. I mean, just the fight alone with Luther and Clark, was amazing, with them fighting in the rain, or Superman's identity being revealed. I mean, just little moments like that were always, I mean, of course, cool. But here was just, I mean, it was fun, and I still loved it because, I mean, how much it pushed the story forward. It's just, I think I'm just a little on edge considering that we only had 3 episodes left, and now we're at a point where we only have 2 episodes left. So it's just, it feels like time is money, like anytime like we have an episode, I'm like, oh, if we didn't get this, then I'm so anxious if we're not gonna get it in this episode, and it's like I'm just overthinking it. And but overall, I don't, I we can't sit here and deny how good of an episode, because it was still solid. It was good. And I feel like there was a lot of like psychological games being played here, which of course when it comes to Lex Luthor, I feel like that's a real good specialty of his. And we see that too. And I want to dive into Tom Cavanagh making an appearance, which a lot of you guys who have watched the CW and have watched superhero shows on the CW know how important this man is to the viewers of this channel. Um, first being introduced to the Flash and Arrow and all them, like, I was a big fan of that content. I don't care where it ended up. I love those shows. And to see a character such as obviously it's not Reverse Flash, it's not HR, it's not all these different characters that we knew him as. He's a whole new character. He's Godfrey, and then I think that's a really cool turn, and I'm pretty sure they announced that he was going to be playing a character, and a lot of us were questioning, okay, who is this going to be? And I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of phased that out of my head because we are so deep into the series. I kind of forgot about it. It just kind of pushed out of my memory, and I think his return is such a cool thing, especially for us fans who have been watching these for so long. I mean, hell, like even in Crisis, Tom Cavanagh and Tyler Hoechlin got to have a little bit of an interaction when Tom Cavanagh played Pariah. So it's really cool to see a familiar face such as that being involved and not having to affect like the grand scheme of the universe that they are in, because obviously it's separate at this point. They've already confirmed it's separate from everything that we've gotten in the past, which is fine because what they're doing on Superman and Lois is phenomenal, so who am I to complain? But again, to see him play a character like that, someone who's kind of high on a pedestal, someone who's just so hung up on their ego, it fit the role of what Tom Cavanagh can play, and they really did a good job with that. Like with Lois and him kind of butting heads, with Lois being an actual journalist who's won awards, and we have this just a news not a newscaster but just a television personality who of course is doing what he can to get the views, which means sometimes just doing whatever you can to get clicks, whether it's lying for entertainment or whatever. And Lois was in a position where she was calling him out, which I thought was fun. As someone who is always whether watching the news or just seeing people kind of make their own articles to get clicks. It's really fun to see like a version of it, kind of seeing someone get called out for their BS and for them just being what she said a carnival. I don't know. She used some lingo that I thought was hilarious, but to see them kind of going toe to toe was extremely interesting. And it's like, you got to remember this is a Superman and Lois Lane television show, which I love because it's like we have moments where Clark is telling her, "Hey, like, don't do this. It might not work out." And obviously, it didn't really work out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say, she was wrong. But realistically, it was really cool to see her click. Like, she was cooking. Like, realistically, to see that journalistic side of her kind of come out and to see her ready to debate, like it was just I thought it was really cool for her character because we were in a position where she is sitting there and she's like making all these claims, and then Lex comes out, well, I have my own claims, and I'm not just gonna sit here like you. I have evidence, and then it goes back to that fight scene that I'm talking about, which again, fantastic stuff. But on top of that, we end up having Lois, kind of pull out her own trump card where she says, well, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna say what I say and back it up as well. I'm gonna call your daughter, which blew my mind because another actress that I love. I mean, she didn't pop up in the show, but Elizabeth was in Agents of Shield, which I absolutely loved. I mean, I did some reactions for that as well over here. And to see her appear as Lex Luthor's daughter was already such a cool touch. So just them mentioning her, like, hey, like, we're gonna use her because obviously the way they left off was not on a good note. So I mean, that got me so excited, and it just really played to the fact that yeah, Clark wasn't even prepared for that either. It just shows how good at what she does, or what at what Lois does. She's just so good at it, man. I mean, and I just think that they did a really good job portraying that because, I just although Clark was being realistic about the whole situation, it would have been really cool to see him be like yeah, spit some logic, but at the same time have Lois be like, yeah, well, this is why I'm in a position that I'm in. I'm just that good at what I do. Like yeah, Lex is smart, but I got my own games too, and it would have been really cool to see that kind of follow through and for that to actually happen. And I mean, I think the one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is, of course, we're at the point where Lex is extremely powerful. He has money. We know that, and writing wise, it just feels as though like they can just do whatever the hell they want with that, which kind of, for me, cheapens the story a little bit. Where we are introduced, or we see Milton, who hasn't been in the season at all, and just kind of like comes out of nowhere and is like, hey, I'm already smarter than this dude, which means I can already do all this. And it ends up working to his advantage, but it's like just the fact that it kind of came out of left field for me. I'm just like, who is this dude? Like it would have been cool if they kind of like had him on the team prior, and it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I just feel as though that could have been handled a little differently. But I still thought it was really cool because, of course, it's the introduction to how Lex ends up getting um his own mech, which is something again I've been really excited about because we've seen different variations of Lex Luthor, but to see him in that suit is amazing. And again, one of my favorite things too is seeing John and Nat talk about their world, where Superman was in charge and everything. But I think that's still one of the coolest things. Like I love Superman's character, and I think one of the things that I think people really gravitate to, and I know a lot of people say Superman's not evil, he shouldn't be evil, which I agree. But the thing is, anytime we see Superman kind of shoot steam from his ears, when he's really pissed off, it gets entertaining for me because it's not the Superman we know. It's not like in his DNA to see that craziness. So it's like to see him kind of get nuts or be bad, it's always like entertaining for me because it's like, wow, like this is something that isn't supposed to be the case, but here we are, and to hear them talking about their battle world, if you will, and how Superman was bad, and they're like, I don't know where, like, I'm pretty sure they could have mentioned Lex, but I know like in variations they have Lex Luthor actually on the good side, where when Superman's bad, they have Lex actually helping us fighting, different people or whatever you want to call it. But it's just really cool to see their version where they're like, oh, is Lex a super tech, good at tech in this universe as he was in ours, and it's just hearing them mentioning different things like that where they're bringing out characters from their universe and comparing them to our versions. I don't know. I just think that's really cool. But one thing that I really hope happens, like I'm not one to sit here and be like, I'm gonna come up with all these theories, like if it happens, it happens. I love it, but with John's suit gone, straight up kidnapped, and with Nat's suit destroyed, they have to make new suits, right? There's 2 episodes left. It would make sense. This would be the perfect opportunity for them to bring John's suit with the emblem on it, with the S on it. I mean, even if Clark loses his powers, there will always be a Superman, always be that super, the hope, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's not a replacement, but he's there to kind of give off hope. And I think that would be such a good way. If this is really the route they're going with kind of taking away Clark's powers, which part of me is okay with, but at the end of the day, I would love, the show to end with both Superboys on his side and Clark, just there, as Superman. And they could do that, but at the same time, just hearing or just knowing in the back of my head that, hey, he's losing his abilities. It's just like, it's I get it, but it's like, oh man, like, I want a happy ending, but realistically, I'll be cool with whatever they choose to do. I just really want them to add the emblem. I need them to add the logo. I think that would be so cool. I think it would be such a full circle or just a great moment for John Henry, who has come so far as a character. From when we first started, he's trying to wipe out Superman because the version he knew was a dick, So it's like we've come so far where John went to kill Clark and now he's trying to protect him with everything, and they're basically family at this point. Like they are close, man. They're brothers. They've done so much together, and it's just they've come so far, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, we have 2 episodes left, which is nuts to me. Episode 9 comes out next week. Episode 10 the week after. We will be covering them not only on my channel, but of course we'll be doing reviews over here on this channel. And I'd love to have you guys there. A big thank you to all of you guys who have been showing support. You guys are fantastic. You guys are awesome. And I just want to say a big thank you. Just feel free to check us out not only on YouTube, TeamJVS on TikTok, and yeah, just thank you guys. You guys are great, and I'll see you soon. Yeah, man. Peace out.